Clark released a statement that should send shivers down the spine of every executive in that building. "I had hoped to share a better update, but I will not be returning to play this season. I spent hours in the gym every day with the singular goal of getting back out there. Disappointed isn't a big enough word to describe how I am feeling. Let that sink in. Disappointed isn't a big enough word." This is Caitlin Clark, the woman who's faced down pressure that would crush mere mortals, who's carried an entire league on her back, who's never met a challenge she couldn't conquer. Think about what Clark has done for this franchise. She took a team that was the laughingstock of the WNBA and turned them into playoff contenders. She broke attendance records. She shattered viewership numbers. She made the Indiana Fever relevant for the first time in nearly a decade. And this is how they repay her? By sidelining her during the most crucial stretch of games in franchise history. The front office's excuse: "We're putting no timetable on it. The most important thing for us is Caitlin's long-term health." How noble. How considerate, how utterly insulting to a competitor like Clark. This is a woman who played through adversity her entire career. Never missed a game at Iowa. Never missed a game in her rookie WNBA season. But suddenly the front office knows better than she does about her own body. Here's the truth they don't want you to know. Clark was participating in team activities. She was running with the squad during Fivian Zero drills. Medical experts were calling out the team's day-to-day narrative as misleading, saying her extended absence proved she was dealing with a week-to-week issue, not something catastrophic. Yet, the front office chose the nuclear option, shutting down their franchise player when she was this close to returning. And what's Clark's reaction to this betrayal? Pure unfiltered honesty. "This has been incredibly frustrating. But even in the bad there is good. The way the fans continue to show up for me and for the Fever brought me so much joy and important perspective. I am so proud of how this team has only gotten stronger through adversity this year. Now it's time to close out the season and claim our spot." Notice what she did there. She thanked the fans. She praised her teammates, but not a single word of gratitude for the front office that made this decision. That silence speaks volumes. Clark knows exactly who's responsible for keeping her off the court during the biggest games of the year. Here's where it gets even more infuriating. The Indiana Fever needed Clark. They're sitting as the 7th seed, having clinched their playoff spot with a 94-65 demolition of the Washington Mystics. But they're heading into the postseason without their superstar, their draw, their identity. Fans are already expressing skepticism about the team's playoff chances without Clark. And rightfully so. The front office wants to talk about protecting Clark's future. What about protecting the franchise's future? What about the thousands of fans who bought playoff tickets expecting to see the Caitlin Clark show? What about the television ratings that are about to plummet without the league's biggest star? They've prioritized hypothetical future concerns over real immediate championship opportunities. And make no mistake, this decision reeks of organizational arrogance. The same front office that watched Clark transform their franchise from irrelevant to must-see TV suddenly thinks they can win without her. They're about to learn a harsh lesson about what happens when you sideline greatness in favor of corporate caution. Clark's statement continues. "I want to thank everyone who had my back through all the uncertainty. Everyone who had her back, not everyone in the organization, not the decision makers, everyone who had her back." That's a not-so-subtle dig at the people who clearly didn't have her back when it mattered most. This isn't just about one player missing the playoffs. This is about respect. This is about recognizing what Clark has meant to this franchise and this league. She's been the WNBA's golden goose, the player who's brought unprecedented attention and revenue to women's basketball. And her reward for that loyalty, getting benched by suits who've never laced up a pair of sneakers. The most maddening part, Clark was ready. She'd been putting in the work. She'd been grinding through rehab. She'd been doing everything asked of her. But the front office decided they knew better than the competitor who's never backed down from anything in her life. They chose fear over championship aspirations. And now they get to explain to fans why the most exciting player in women's basketball is watching the playoffs from the sideline. They get to explain why ticket sales will drop, why viewership will plummet, why the Fever's championship window just slammed shut. All because they couldn't trust their franchise player to know her own body and make her own decisions. Clark's final words in her statement are telling. Now it's time to close out the season and claim our spot. Not our spot in the playoffs. Not our championship run. Just our spot. It's the language of someone who knows they're being held back from something bigger. The Indiana Fever front office just made the biggest mistake in franchise history. They took the player who saved their organization and told her she couldn't be trusted to help finish what she started. They chose corporate liability over competitive fire. They picked spreadsheets over championships. Caitlin Clark deserved better. The fans deserved better. And when the Fever inevitably fall short in the playoffs without their superstar, everyone will know exactly who to blame. Not the injury, not bad luck. The front office that was too scared to let greatness be great when it mattered most. Disappointed isn't a big enough word. And honestly, it shouldn't be. So, as we gear up to watch the Indiana Fever in the playoffs without the one and only Caitlin Clark, let's pour one out for what could have been. The front office may have wanted to play it safe, but they ended up playing themselves. And Caitlin, she'll be back next season with a vengeance. Mark my words. You think she had a chip on her shoulder before? After this, she's going to have the whole damn casino. In the meantime, the Fever will learn the hard way that you don't clip the wings of your own golden goose. Because when you do, you're left with a whole lot of eggs and no spectacle. And nobody buys a ticket for the eggs. If the Fever front office doesn't get that, well, enjoy the silence.